All right. Hello, Libra, and welcome to your monthly forecast. I hope you're doing well today. Many of you, myself included, we've had some inclement weather here in California. I know it's been the same across many parts of the world. It's winter, it's to be expected, but it's been a little bit more inclement than usual. So hopefully everybody's doing well, staying safe, and I'm so happy that you've carved out a little bit of time to spend with me today. So welcome. We'll be taking a look today at the next 6 to 8 weeks, focusing not just on this month, but really focusing on February. And the way that I like to organize it here is I begin with channeled messages. That comes from dream messages, also meditation, and then the research that I do to tie all of that together. Then we'll get into the cards themselves, and then the rest of it's kind of laid out underneath here. I always allow for spirit to kind of work however it needs to through channeled messages and the Celtic Cross. Then I'll look specifically at health, wealth, love, and destiny. You can always watch this reading for your sun, rising, moon, Venus, and any part of your chart that you happen to know. I actually go into sun, rising, and moon messages towards the end, so I hope you stick around to see that. Let me know also if you enjoy the current length of the readings. From time to time, I see people commenting about length, and I know that mine tend to go a little bit longer, so I'm always curious. I might put a poll actually on the main page. Once a year, I just like to check in. I know that some people like 15-minute readings, half hour. I go way over that just because I have a lot to go through. But a reminder, if you have varying degrees of attention span, I do a 1-minute reading every day. So for all of you that say you want a short reading, check that out. It's a great way to take a pulse on what's going on. And that's my way to kind of make sure that for those of you that are in a hurry, you have what you need. If you'd like to stay looped into what's going on this channel, and there's going to be some new stuff coming through this year, please make sure you've liked and subscribed. And also make sure that you opt into the bell notification so you can keep in touch with, again, any of the new events and things of that nature. You can also follow me across social media for reminders, news, and updates as well. Remember that my name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, is the handle on all major platforms. And to that end, if you notice that anybody is sending you a direct message or the name looks like it's off a little bit, missing characters, added numbers, it's not me, folks. I recently had to get one of the profiles on TikTok taken down for all of those reasons. And they're getting better at doing that. A lot of times they take your content too and then send messages. So it's always Nicholas Ashbaugh spelled exactly like it is here, okay? If you'd like to show some love and support, you can do that through SuperStickers, Super Chat, and also through memberships here on YouTube. And finally, again, welcome everyone. We're going to get into the channeled messages next. So today it was pretty interesting. As I was connecting in dreams, a couple of things were coming through. For many of us, whenever the new year hits, it's kind of an opportunity to take a look at our lives and think, where am I? Where am I at? Where do I stand? And it was kind of almost like a report card, if you will, in spirit. And for those of you that are still in like a regular day job, this can be like your performance annual review where you talk to a supervisor if your job allows for that, and you kind of map out how you're tracking, basically. It was sort of like some tough love from spirit too, because it was really what I was getting was this question of, are you taking initiative? And it's not just about like having a title. And in fact, a lot of what I was being shown is that titles don't really matter, but do you feel like you're in control? Do you feel like you have creative input? And sorry, one of my lights is off. And do you feel like what you're doing is actually making a difference, basically? So all of these things were being brought up in the little bit of spiritual review, and so I wanted to pass that along. The energy that came through primarily through totem was through a lion, so it makes sense because we see that as a leadership symbol oftentimes. So this month in particular is offering you an opportunity to step further into your power. The star card could have worked too, but because I'm thinking of the lion and I was shown a crown and a crown chakra, the king energy came through and it made sense. So the lion is an apex predator in its particular environment, aka the king of the jungle. It's closely connected, therefore, to the Emperor card in tarot and represents an opportunity for you to figure out, how do I feel about this moment? Do I feel like I'm in control? Do I want to change things a little bit? And again, I was shown the crown chakra here. True leadership, though, comes in many forms, oftentimes without a title or the recognition in real time. There is an opportunity, however, to fully embrace your potential. And people may later understand that. And that's basically what I was picking up on here. Okay? Now, I like to always do some research on the totems to understand why they're presenting themselves. Lions have a lot of competition and also some interesting role reversals that pop up when we look at them. So appropriately enough, the grouping of lions, at least if we're talking about the ones in Africa, they're known as a pride of lions. And I think that in and of itself is very telling. So one of the things that you might be asked to keep in check, or you might notice in the environment around you, may surround pride. Is someone around you too proud to ask for help? Are they too proud to admit that they're wrong? Are some of these things that you're also dealing with personally yourself? If so, this gives you an opportunity to kind of temper that a bit and not be afraid to sort of show your true colors. Some areas where the lions are competitive, and there were some interesting things that I read and I thought I didn't know that. The young males are kicked out of a pride when they're around 2, at which point they also attempt to take over another pride. Now, it seemed sort of bizarre, but I understood it because there's a lot of, it's female heavy actually. There's more lionesses than lions in a pride, and there needs to be diversity of genes and new blood, and that's basically what this weird competition sort of ensures. In day-to-day life, we don't need to worry about this so much, but what it really brings up is 5 and 7 of wands. So getting the work done, competing with others, pushing, trying to get your way in. So definitely I was picking up on some competition, some environmental pushes that some of us might be dealing with. And the one thing that we can take from that is that there are natural progressions and periods of time during which it makes sense to exit from a group or an experience, particularly if it's so competitive, or if it's so, maybe it's top heavy and there's no room for you to grow. So this could just be a growth sort of spurt that you're going through energetically, spiritually, and the current grouping that you're in, your own sort of pride of people, it may not be sort of supportive of this new version of yourself that you want to put out there. So acknowledge that, explore a little bit, see what's out there, see if you can find your own new spiritual family or tribe, and let me know how that goes. But here's a couple of things to think about with the 5 and the 7 of wands if we take the whole lion piece out of it, because it connected me to the cards, and the cards themselves have some messages. You can do more together than you can apart. Cooperation, collaboration, appreciation, all of that is sort of under the surface of the 5 of wands if we take away all the people pushing at the respective batons or wands. And the 7 of wands is a card that basically says you can work more intelligently, you can work smarter, you don't have to work harder, you don't have to exhaust yourself, you shouldn't have to prove yourself. So with all of this, being in your authentic self, doing what you need to do, and not having to prove or explain or force your sort of position anywhere is going to be really powerful. Persuasion comes with the sense of kindness, compassion, and calm, really. It's appropriate that we're doing the reading today where we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King, because he was a really great orator and speaker. And a great way to get a message across is through kindness, compassion, and common sense and love. So this energy of competing that we got with the lions here doesn't always make sense, but it is something that we might need to look at this month and figure out, where do I want to make sure that I'm being heard and seen? Where am I going to push a little bit? And where is it just a waste of time and energy? Okay? So really evaluate the fights that are worth fighting, and then the fights that are just people trying to get their way or show off and kind of like, go in their peacock moment for a second. So it's so appropriate, as I was researching this, that the Strength card features Divine Feminine as the predominant energy, because there's a little bit of a role reversal when you look at lions. The lionesses are the hunters. They're the ones that go out and get the food. They're the ones that take care of the young. They're the ones that are really doing the most of the energetic work for the group. The men basically protect the boundaries of the pride, but they're kind of like stay-at-home dads. So it's a role reversal, which I think is really cool. And it makes a lot of sense now why the Strength card features the divine feminine in control because they're the fighters. So don't limit yourself. We can take role reversals and gender sort of energy completely out of this and simply take a look at expectations, right? So don't limit yourself by what is expected by mom or dad, by teacher or mentor, by neighbor or friend. These are old archetypes, and they're constantly meant to be broken down and rebuilt. I had a line in the weekend collective, or the weekly collective, where it was from an Imogen Heap song when she was with Frou Frou, and it was basically, there's beauty in the breakdown. So we come into each life to sort of break down some of the old things that we built up and discover our true capacity and our just sort of like expand. So never be afraid to break down all of these old archetypes that don't fit. And in my lifetime, I've seen many, many things shift towards the positive, some shift towards the negative, but one constant is change. And that's what gives me hope. That's what makes me get excited about doing a reading every day, is we have the capacity to change what we don't like. We have the capacity to continue on paths that will help us out and will further the cause for growth and expansion. And hopefully that's what we're all doing from day to day. Strength can be shown by sensitivity, compassion, and intelligence just as much, if not more so, than it is by brawn muscle or flexing one's power. We see this on a daily basis with like different types of world leaders, different types of speakers, and different people out there that, again, you can show kindness and compassion, and it's such a strong message, but it's just not shown as much in this moment in time. So we kind of go through ebbs and flows and pendulum swings where we go, from one extreme to another. So I would love to see some more sensitivity, compassion, and intelligence as well. And I think we'll get back there. And I think that your sign in particular has the capacity to do this, perhaps more than any other, because as an air sign, it's able, and really with the scales, fairness, clarity, kindness. Sometimes Libra gets a bad rap because it takes its time and it's seen as indecisive. It's really just making sure that when it speaks and when it acts, it is completely sure, because once it is, this is the cool thing with Libra. Once it's made its mind up, it's really solid on it. And that's a cool thing. And like other signs may have to vacillate a little bit, but once you've made your mind up, you can really do something amazing. So take the time, be strong in the leadership, and then really stand firm to that once you've get out there and doing what you need to do and say what you need to say. And that's going to be important. Okay. This is a moment of empowerment. So I was shown the crown. The crown is about you being able to, first of all, step into leadership. There could be a 3 of Pentacles moment. I can only feature so many cards on these, where people are acknowledging work or actions or deeds well done, and basically you're getting your moment. But I wanted to feature the first 2 numbered cards. This is really number 2 and 3, since the Fool is 0, but it's like the first card. So it's basically saying to step into your power, you have to be connected to source. So we need the magician there, because the magician is like when we're plugging in something into a receptacle, that's basically what he's doing. He's plugging into source, and then he's channeling it here into the physical. As above, so below. And you are the sort of channel for that. The high priestess then takes that energy and that potential and starts to manifest and see and work with it. But for all of this to happen, you have to believe in your potential. You have to believe in what you're doing. And then, if you're not believing in that, are you just going through the motions? So that was the direct question from Spirit. Are you connected to your task? Do you believe in what you're doing, or who you're with, or who you are? Or are you just waking up and doing the same thing each day, hoping for a different sort of end result? Just kind of, a lot of us will just go to work, do our thing, and then end the day and think, all right, I guess I'll do that again tomorrow. Is there a larger purpose? Is there a larger goal? And if not, this gives you an opportunity to explore what other things are stirring your heart and your emotions and your intellect. Walk away from anything that isn't inspiring you, basically. And this is the most important card in all of the ones that I've done here. But to take this a step further, Spirit has some let's consider it not homework, but opportunities for you. Ask yourself these questions as you start each day over the next 6 to 8 weeks or so. What's your intention? What's the goal, basically? And what are you doing to bring that into fruition? And again, since I'm doing the reading on a holiday here in the US, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, what's your dream to improve yourself, your life, or the world at large? And again, dream it, speak it, believe it, do it. You've got to do all of the different things. To just have a dream, it's not enough. He actually conveyed the dream to others and sort of through his words and actions and through demonstrating how to be, even if it didn't exist, was able to make that dream, in many ways, not completely, bringing it into the reality. We're still working on his dream, aren't we? But it's there, and his dream became a fabric of our understanding. So you can start to make a difference. That's the main thing with that whole I have a dream speeches. I can see our potential. I'm frustrated by our progress. What can we do to make some more progress happen together? And let's wake up. So in our own lives, we can take that as an inspiration and think, it doesn't have to happen overnight. It doesn't have to happen completely in my lifetime. We keep coming back to this planet. But what are you going to do in this lifetime to make a little bit of a difference? If we can just make a little bit of a difference, each one of us in each lifetimes that we come to this planet, or each lifetime, then we start to see an improvement energetically, collectively, personally, on a soul level. And so we're getting a little deep today, but it's important because you don't get these questions very often from spirit or from yourself or from parents. When we're kids, we are asked it more than we are as an adult. As a child, your parents and teachers will constantly say, what's your dream? What's your goal? What do you want to do when you grow up? For some reason, magically, when you turn 20-something, people stop caring and they stop asking. Nobody asks, what do you want to do? Are you happy? What's next? How are you tracking? Except maybe your boss, and it's mostly based on the business. It's not your soul. So I'm here to take that sort of business stuff out and all the other stuff out and say, on a soul level, what do you want to do? And I said this on the weekend, I'll say it again today. And I think I heard it even on a TikTok from, who was it? Was it like, might have been Jane Fonda or whoever she worked with on that. Anyway, but you don't stop growing or changing until you die. You still have an opportunity to do something until you have your last breath on this planet. So you don't grow up until you're completely gone from this place. So I can still ask you what you want to do when you continue to grow up in the next sort of phase of your life. So what do you want to do next? And that's what this month gives you an opportunity to do, is to move the needle. So the Ace of Swords is about thoughts, actions, intentions, and how they all come together. All right, let's briefly bring this together, and then you have a chance to vote on the deck, and we'll take a look and see what the messages are. So this is all about power and empowerment today, okay? And with this, a reminder that a title doesn't make you powerful, and a lack of a title doesn't make you less powerful. It's just a title. So power is something that you have. And we all have the capacity to own it and celebrate it. The title doesn't matter. That was one thing that was important with this. Competition has a place. It inspires. It pushes. Healthy competition is okay, but if it's competition for the sake of competition, really pick and choose how much you're going to engage with that. Also pay close attention to your pride and other people's pride, and see if it's helping or hindering the cause in front of you. You're not bound by what used to be. You are creating your own truth. So the titles, the roles, the expectations, they were all made to be broken. They were all made to be changed and moved and shifted. And we're in a moment of another sort of paradigm shift with respect to that. So whether it's age, gender, race, religion, any of those not so important things, but we put a lot of importance in it because at the core, we're all humans. That's it at the end of the day. So we have a lot more in common than we have different. And so we need to focus more on what your soul needs and wants right now and let go of the exterior stuff. And then focus on compassion. That was the main thing with this. And then to be fully empowered, these two slides work together. Spirit saying, do you believe in what you're doing? Do you believe in yourself? What's the big purpose? What's the big dream? What are you doing to make that happen? And when you talk to people and when they ask you what your goal or intention is, can you say it with conviction? If you can, then some really exciting things are on the horizon for you, okay? And if you can't, this month gives you an opportunity to go a little bit deeper into all of that. All right, we're going to get next into the Celtic Cross. I put together a poll for you today. So let's take a look at all the different cards that I selected, and we'll move from there. Okay, give me 1 second to get them all pulled up here. Okay, so I'll just do one by one here. The first one is the Light Seers deck. So many of you are familiar with this if you look at my channel. A beautiful, modern reinterpretation of Rider-Waite-Smith with a lot of twists and turns, which I like. The next one is the Afro Goddess deck. Beautifully illustrated and, again, appropriate. I tried to pick decks today that represent diversity and celebrate what Dr. Martin Luther King would want for today. So, all right, we also have Tarot de St. Croix. This is the Tarot de St. Croix deck, beautifully illustrated. Actually has its, again, I would say a lot of these decks deviate in, I would say, important ways, like even like this, we'll look at the Ten of Swords. They have beautiful sort of reinterpretations of the main one. The only one that is very much a Rider-Smith sort of clone is the Modern Witch. So it's basically just a more colorful version of Rider-Waite-Smith with a few liberties. I think most of the Queen card or King cards actually have Divine Feminine in them, but that's the main twist and turn. All right, so it looks like the Light Seers deck is in the lead for today. So I'm going to end the poll and we'll go with that one. So thank you for voting, everyone who voted. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're going to get into the Celtic Cross portion for today. So good to have all of you here. I'm excited to see what messages are going to present themselves today. All right, so let me just get it all set up here. Here we go. Yeah, this is a great choice. I would have probably done Afro Goddess or the Tarot de St. Croix, but this is a fan favorite, so this is a democracy here. You guys get to vote on it. But the Tarot de St. Croix, I actually think has like some lions and lionesses in it too, but it's okay. This is perfect because this is what you guys chose. There are no mistakes. Right, let's take a look at your Catalyst card first and foremost, and then we'll work our way through the spread. So we have the beautiful sea serpent coming through in the reverse state, but the cool thing when we look at any sort of serpentine animal or any sort of fish, when I'm looking at this, I don't worry so much about direction because there's a flexibility in the ability to swim. So with this, I'm actually looking more at that sort of center point here, which reminds me of it's almost like a third eye coming through. And for many of us, it's about what we're creating here. Also, this is kind of at like the center of the serpent as it's moving around. So let's take this as an indication of like a cycle or the Wheel of Fortune. So we're in January, we're reading for February. We're looking at we're halfway, perfectly almost at the midpoint here when this reading is meant to be interpreted for the first quarter of the new year. So cyclically speaking, this is basically saying you still have plenty of time to take the wheel and turn it whatever way you'd like to. So to me, this is the Wheel of Fortune, and it's about a central focus this year because we see the eye at the center of the serpent, which is representing for me the Wheel of Fortune. So you have the power to change direction this year, even if you've been dragging your feet in previous years, even if you've been not super clear on your focus, or even if you haven't seen a lot of traction. This particular serpent is making its own traction. It's making its own way. And the main thing here is to not lose sight of where you're at and where you've been. It's kind of like an Ouroboros, I think is what it's called when there's a fish that's eating it, or a snake that's eating itself. It's basically looking at its tail here. So what I like about this too is this is where I'm headed. This is where I've been. I want to make sure that I'm not just going in circles. So I'm looking at this as a symbol for you to change direction, to avoid cyclical things that you don't want to repeat, to embrace the cycles that are working, and to really start to create some traction. And the traction comes through a central vision. So you should, if I were to kind of meet you on the street, in the elevator, in the hall, you should be able to say, hey, Nicholas, so good to see you. Here's my plan for the year. And you could do it in like drop of a hat and easily, like a sentence or two. You could say, I want to work on this, this, and this, and I'm ready to let go of this. Without hesitation, without a lot of explanation. I want to create more of this year, and this is how I'm going to do it. And that's kind of like your homework opportunity here, is to step away from today's reading. And I'll look at the cards too to see what they're presenting. But what is it that you truly want to see some movement, some growth, and some action happening in? And what's the one thing you're going to do the most this month to help affect, create, or reinforce that? You have a really great card at the center. It's not necessarily in opposition of this one, but we'll kind of look at this connection here, because the Six of Pentacles is a higher card than this, but this is in the past, so it's actually positioned okay. This is about balance, and this is about releasing something that doesn't serve you, which is good because it's reversed. So let's talk a little bit about the balancing act here first. Six of Pentacles is the bare minimum that I look for in any card, in any question, to say, yes, you can do this. If we're looking at resource exchange. So are you ready to do something? Are you poised for success in this period of time? Yes. What's the challenge with the Six of Pentacles? You can't please everyone. You can't do everything you want to do in the amount of time that you want to do. So there's always an opportunity. And in fact, it's the universe saying you should do this on some levels here. You have to decide how much and how often and when. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to build a house. We'll take a very easy example that many of us could relate to. Well, you could have everything you want, but not in the timeline that you want. Maybe you have to secure certain work permits. So if you wanted to build the house in 6 months, it might take 1 year or something like that. If you wanted to, for instance, there could also be certain things that you'd have to look at in the budget. So let's say you can afford the house, but you may not be able to get everything that you wanted in the house. So maybe you wanted a 3-bedroom house, but all you can find is a 2-bedroom house. Or you wanted one that had a certain amount of square foot, but it's kind of a little less. So sometimes you can get it for the money you want without everything that you want. Sometimes you can get everything you want, but not in the timeline or the budget that you want. Sometimes you have to seek external resources. Something has to give, but you will be mostly satisfied because you're getting what you want. It's just resetting expectations. So when you talk to other people and they want things from you, you can use the same logic. Yeah, I can do that for you, but we're going to need some more money, or I'm going to need some more time. Or we can take away a little bit if you really need it by this deadline. That's it. So yeah, I'm on board, but something here is off a little bit, so let's figure out how to get it solid. So that's the exciting thing, is that you're very close to something and there's a few small concessions. If you want everything, you're going to have to wait longer or get more money, usually with this card. If you don't need everything, you have some choices and you can pick the best fit, okay? Like the Goldilocks option. But this means that at the end of the day, you'll be okay. Six of Pentacles is also asking you to create balance in your life and make sure that the people that you're spending time with, the things that you're spending time on, the goods and services that you're also spending money on, all of this is bringing a sense of balance in your life. If you're giving more than you're receiving, then it's time to take the scales that normally exist in that card and say, all right, let's rethink this. I'll show the traditional card because I also think that there's a nice story to be told in this, and then we'll move on to the deep past. While I'm getting it, I'll explain what is on it because I have it memorized. But basically, the Six of Pentacles, you'll see at least two people with hands outstretched and one person measuring and thinking and considering with care how much and how often. It's really interesting that the two cards that we're going to be looking at, the 4 and the 6, were back to back on this. So Six of Pentacles, there's the scales, that's you, Libra. And then we see two people. He's not giving it to everybody. He can't give the money, the time, the energy, the advice to everybody. So there is a choice. I can make the biggest impact here. It's not that I don't care about this. It's that talking about vision, voice, action. If I do this, I'm going to see more of a result. And that's it. You have to be discerning. And that's what the Six of Pentacles is telling you. Here we just see the actual delivery, but we need to kind of zoom out a little bit to see the story. And this is the story. Sometimes we focus too much on the transaction, and this is saying go big picture a little bit, bigger picture, and don't lose track of yourself in this, okay? So this one's very transactional. I wanted to zoom out so we could actually see why the transaction's happening and what the choice and the trade-off was in that transaction. Before we move on, I want to look at recent past, even though we're kind of doing it out of order. So in the recent past is the 4 of Pentacles. While we're talking about resources, this makes sense. So here's the card in the upright position. We see someone holding onto a clutch or a coin purse, basically saying, you know, I need to hold this close to my heart. This is all that I have. There is a little bit of a scarcity mentality with the 4 of Pentacles, holding on for dear life, rather than saying, this is just the foundation. This is just the beginning. I'm not afraid that more won't come. I'm maybe just trying to prepare to make sure that I can deal with all the stuff that's going to come my way. So that's the healthier way to think of it. But a lot of times this happens. Here's the traditional card. Very similar, actually. These illustrations are almost identical. But we actually get a little bit more of the possession and the fear and the I have to hold on to it energy with this. So the card in reverse is saying, this isn't it. I'm willing to let go. And there's actually a little bit of an exercise that you can do to help open up abundance. So having just moved here, this is something that I'm doing as I start to unpack. There are certain things that I don't need anymore. Some things that I inherited when my mom passed away last year. So I'm trying to find new homes for some of them. I don't need them. So I can donate some things to charity. And I didn't need it, and it wasn't a part of my energy anyway. So when I give something away like that, that's me saying, I don't need the attachment to this. Someone else can do something with it. I'll open up my space in my life to receive something bigger, better, different, that's going to be a nicer connection. So I can give away something of value that I don't need. And then it doesn't have to be money. It can be an old belonging that's in perfect condition and just say, here, world, you can do something beautiful with this. And I'll save some room and some space for something else, for an upgrade. You can give time. You don't have to give money. You can give time. You can give expertise. You can give of the heart. It doesn't matter. But by letting go, either legitimately doing a donation, by the way, if you have more than enough, you can always do that. And ironically, it's going to bring more into your life. But it can be a donation. It can be service, seva. It can be anything of that nature. But this opens and breaks through the 4 of Pentacles energy. And you'll be at the 6 of Pentacles before you know it. Okay? So getting rid of things you don't need, opening up and engaging with people in a way that is of service, all of these things can help bring more abundance in your life because you're telling the universe, I have more than enough, so I'm going to share. When we hoard, when we keep it to ourselves, the universe isn't going to give us any more. We have to open up for more to come. Okay. Here's what's crossing this abundance card, and it's fear and anxiety. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of standing up for yourself sometimes to someone who doesn't want to hear it. For many of you, you're just exhausted. We see the pillow by her on this particular card. So restlessness can come through on the Nine of Swords and the Four of Swords. Usually what's keeping you up in the Nine of Swords is just unnecessary concern. But a lot of times it can just be what people have said and it's ricocheting in your head a little bit. So talk it out with someone, find a way to channel or have an outlet for that. But by and large, I'm not usually scared of the Nine of Swords. It's just kind of like a headache. It's just your head and the wheels turning there, okay? And so the important thing here is to face your fears, talk to someone about it, get enough sleep, and try to use, quote unquote, the good butterflies. So we can have the butterflies that totally take us out of our power and make us sick, but anybody that steps on stage or gets ready for something, usually you have a little bit of nerves. You want it to work. You hope everything is okay. You want people to receive it well. So you don't get as nervous, but it's sort of like, let's make this work. There's an adrenaline rush that happens, and there's a little bit of concern. So first date, interview, public speaking, anything where you're out there, you're going to have some sort of a butterfly, and that actually can be channeled into good energy, okay? So we can take that nervousness and just say, I want the best to happen, and I'm going to make it work, okay? But if there's too much fear or anxiety, then it can become incapacitating, or it can kind of eat away at your sleep. So if that happens, talk to someone. All right, let's look at your deep past. And this is the karmic lesson that's coming through and possibly repeating in this period of time, because we have a cyclical card here. So we have the Page of Swords in reverse. Notice how this page is walking almost like a tightrope here, but it's the sword. And she's multitasking, and there's way too much going on. I mean, I'm impressed, but we got birds swarming around her head. So this can be feedback, communication, warnings. We have all these ideas that she's getting while she's engaged with that book, and also maybe other things going on, and she's not looking where she's going. Yes, this page is lucky, everything's working, but she could benefit by balancing things out a little bit. So what we're really looking at here is how sustainable is a current habit or a current trajectory. Are you, a jack of too many trades, trying to do too many things for too many people? I love this page. She's amazing. She's got some magician energy with her because of all these things that she's doing and all the elements and all the directions, but it isn't sustainable and it's a little bit confusing. So I think the main thing here is to focus. So the karmic lesson right now is to do less, do it better, tune into one thing at a time, or if you're going to multitask, make sure you're not missing something. Because I look at those birds and to me, they're opportunities, lessons, or messages, and she's too distracted with this. Also, there's so much going on here between the messages, between the feedback, between this, that I don't know where she's at. And so what could be good for you is if you have a lot of people around you with all these swarming ideas, really pull a few of them and say, let's capture these. I like what you're saying, but there's too many things to focus on. Let's find the one thing that we can, again, that you can make an impact on. And when you talk to someone, take a deep breath, slow down, and really kind of focus on the key point that you feel like you can get the most out of. There's a lot. It just feels like there's a lot going on in the head and in the heart and in the environment. So for those of you that are busy and managing a lot and juggling a lot of different hats, this is especially true for those of you that have families or you and your partner are doing a lot. I get it. So do what you can to make sure that you're not lost in the shuffle. And that's what I'm getting with that. All right. We already talked about this. Letting go of one of those things could be really good because that's what the Four of Pentacles is really encouraging here. And now we have this beautiful Emperor card coming through, which is nicely connected to what we should be focusing on here. So the Emperor card is basically saying you are as powerful as you believe you are. The power comes not through, he has no crown, which I love. What we actually see instead is a chess piece, and it's about basically being strategic. And it almost looks like he's sitting on Mars because of the color. So it's about, and even the color of the shirt and my shirt, it's about really choosing the battles that make sense and realizing that there are different ways to fight. that you can be strategic about how you want to get something done or how you're going to win a battle in front of you. So your strategy is the most important thing this month, which is what I was kind of hammering out in the slides earlier. What is it you're trying to do? What is it? Where is the opportunity, etc. So I think that that's going to be important. Okay. Also, it's just an acknowledgement that, as I said earlier, a title, age, gender, or any of that stuff doesn't really matter so much. Power is within. So the big question here is, do you believe in yourself? And that's going to really help you figure out where some of the sort of challenges have been and how you can overcome them. Okay, let's look at what's coming through. By the way, this is also just about speaking up for yourself. For those of you that want to do entrepreneurial things, stepping into that power as well. All right, we have the lovely Page of Cups coming through in the near future here. And what I like here is if we look in the corner, we see sort of like chemistry is what this reminds me of. We almost see like the atoms going in there really closely. If I bring it to there you can see it. You can't fake chemistry. And we do see someone here that's a little bit afraid of kind of like going head over heels for something as well, right? So for those of you that might be in a moment where you're maybe guarded because of something that's going on in the past where you think to yourself, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit afraid that, I can't get what I want because of, a rejection in the past. What we see here is that if you continue to kind of focus on that and don't allow yourself to experience or put yourself out there again, then it could you're holding yourself back unnecessarily. So don't be afraid of being seen, of being judged, of kind of just allowing for growth to happen. We see a very optimistic card here. Actually, when we look at Hope, Fears, and Opportunity, Wheel of Fortune. So Page of Cups connecting to the Wheel of Fortune. These cards are really encouraging you in this moment to focus on your potential and not on what could go wrong. When we focus on the critical and solely on the critical, then we don't allow the dreams to come through. And the big message for today is, I love that the pig is flying up here. Sometimes that impossible dream is more possible than you think. So put your heart out there and people will connect to the heart place, to that. And you might also then, if you're trying to find love, partnership, friendship, it's going to come through when you're putting your best foot forward or you're expressing yourself using, again, heartfelt words, heartfelt actions. And this is the best kind of leader. I was kind of tempted when I was doing the cards to put the King of Cups. We have the best of both worlds here. We have the king, and then we have the ability here with the page to express himself with kindness, with compassion, and essentially have kind of like a King of Cups energy. So communication should filter through the lens of the heart is basically what we're seeing in this particular spread here. All right, focusing now on what's opening up when it comes to how people are viewing you right now. So you're coming through in a very attractive way in the Three of Cups. So we have near future with the Page of Cups. We have unexpected blessing in disguise here with the Four of Cups. And here what we see is that people want to spend a little bit more time and energy around you. What this can sometimes lead to, though, is this feeling of it's almost as if you're the unlikely social butterfly when you have like hermiting energy, but you're being thrown in a public situation or in in sort of like the spotlight. So what I see this month is a spotlight shown on you, but you're going to be okay. So just have some fun and get out there and connect and network, because that's really what people want from you. They're ready to hang out with you. They're ready to be there. It's interesting that we don't see the three people looking face forward. So I think that people want to see more of you, more of your face, hear more of your voice, connect a little bit more with you. And that's going to be where your power actually lights up this month. And people are looking for a pattern. We see them here looking at the Big Dipper, trying to figure out what should I do? It's kind of like whenever I see stargazing, looking at the constellations, it's trying to find patterns, trying to find stories, trying to find a rhyme or a reason. So you may come in and be that missing piece in a work equation, in a social equation, or you might meet that special someone in your life, but you have to put yourself out there. So if you put yourself out there, I see good things. So these two cards are connecting nicely. And again, the chemistry piece on this one, as we look really close at those two hands and that little atom, it's basically saying you'll know from the beginning if there's a spark or if there isn't a spark. So in major decisions of partnership, business or love, you'll be able to trust your heart to give you the advice that you need. Okay? Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be you. This is possibly something going on around you. So the Three of Swords can constitute a lot of different things. For some of you, this can be low morale in a family or work situation. So there's someone that's stressed out. There could be a loss around you. So maybe someone got divorced, maybe there was a death in the family, maybe someone's just going through a moment. This is the only card so far that kind of carries with it pain, discomfort, or even a little bit of shadow energy. Most of the cards, this is the other one, but this is more stuff that you would pull into your own psyche because of, some of us just manage stress differently. This is where the stress is coming from. It doesn't feel like it's coming from you. It feels like it's either coming from the environment or from one source in the environment. And so when you alleviate this, the Nine of Swords go away. These are cousins, just like the 5 and the 7 work together. The 3 and the 9 work together as well. So I would say for you with the 3 of Swords, you can't fix everything or everyone. This person isn't ready for repair yet. They're not ready to do that reparation on their heart or their mind. They have to exorcise, get out. They have to channel frustration, anger, fear, desire, whatever's pulling at their heartstrings, right? So one thing that I've learned after many years of kind of just trying the opposite is that you can only help so many people. You can only please so many people. And there's always going to be a complaint. There'll be someone complaining in chat, in comments, on the street, in your family, on your report card. You're never going to make everybody happy. And if you're not making everybody happy, you're probably doing something right. Because if you're doing something that agitates or kind of like changes the status quo, that's kind of that's what change is all about. So don't worry about making everybody happy, and don't worry about fixing everyone, because I mentioned, wasn't it today's card? It was the 10 of Swords that I pulled yesterday for today. So our daily card pull on the day that this was read was 10 of Swords in reverse. And one of the important things that I said was that you don't have to carry your pain or others. You don't have to fix everyone in your environment. You can let go of some of that. And that's how healing begins. All right. So acknowledging pain and saying, I'm here for you. I hope things are, when you're ready to talk, come to me. But you don't have to force someone to see something. That heart is going to mend when it's ready, and someone around you isn't ready yet. And so you can use your energy on other things and hold space for when they are ready. Now, if this is an environmental thing, it's not the best environment. So if this represents school, work, or your partnership, this has to be sorted out. When I look at relationships in a bit, we'll go a little deeper into that. Okay. When it comes to just general health and well-being, this is also reminding you that if you have any family history of hypertension, heart disease, blood pressure, blood sugar issues, this is really about making sure that you take care of yourself. Standard disclaimers apply in this. I'm not a doctor. We'll talk more about health, wealth, love, and destiny in just a few minutes, but it's worth mentioning that stress management is important because our emotional health definitely affects the physical health. Okay? All right, focusing now on opportunities here. Well, we got the serpent. You can see why I was seeing the wheel here with this. So this wheel of fortune, or this sea serpent, a power symbol, if you will, because this could also be one of the cups cards in the ocean. I would say the serpent may not be the king. I would say it would probably be like a knight because it moves a lot and it's flexible. So let's say you have this Knight of Cups here and also this Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So if it's a Knight of Cups, how do you feel about what you're doing? Your feelings are affecting your fortune. And so the Wheel of Fortune is coming through saying, if you really feel passionate about it, other people are willing to take a gamble on you, take a chance on you, because this Wheel of Fortune really emphasizes chance. We see the dice on her shirt, and we see all of the chips that you would normally see in a casino right underneath her, representing the Wheel of Fortune. Anything in life that's worth doing carries with it risk. Risk is part of opportunity. So one of the things you want to look at is the risk worth it? Would you bet on yourself? How do you feel about this opportunity? It's risk assessment is going to be an important piece to this. Now, the wheel in the upright position in opportunities, let's take all of the visuals out and just look at the traditional card. It's a good card. It's basically saying during this period of time, you have a chance really to push and create things that didn't exist before. She's kind of tugging at the fabric of time space if you look really close at that card. So timelines can shift, expectations can shift, and it hinges on the heart, which is a big part of today's reading, okay? There's an unexpected opportunity that presents itself here in the outcome. So the Four of Cups in the upright position, you see one cup here right under the rainbow that's basically hidden a little bit, and she's focusing here. When the card is reversed, it's basically saying, if I focus so much on what people think or say, because if we think of what the Three of Cups is, it's right here. It's basically, it can be group consensus or gossip, right? And if we worry too much about what's being said instead of the ace that we have, the desire or the ace that the universe is giving us, the opportunity, then we're not going to be happy. She's torn. Basically, she's torn. This is what she wants. This is what other people want. She's in the middle. As you get older, and ultimately at the end of your days, the most important thing in your life is, how did you feel about it? There's a reason that a therapist will say, well, how does that make you feel? And why do you feel that way? It's not because they're dodging a question. They really want you to be able to see your connection, your attachment or lack of attachment to something. So to, pull a line from therapy, it's like, how do you feel about that? And if you don't feel good about it, why are you doing it? And that can help inform why you're and she's connected to the Wheel of Fortune. So if you don't like it, don't do it. If you want to do it, but other people don't understand it, do it and prove them wrong. I said it on the weekend. I'll say it again today. Success and happiness, your own success and happiness, not at the expense of anyone, just as the fulfillment of your dream. That's the best way to prove someone wrong. You don't have to get even. You don't have to have revenge. You just have to achieve a sense of happiness, healthiness, and again, just sort of satisfaction. Because they'll look at you and they'll think, I can't get to them, can I? So just be happy and be focused on yourself and the opportunity that's presenting itself for you. Okay? I think that's so valuable, and it's not something that we sometimes learn until we're a little bit older, right? All right, we're going to expand this forecast and dig a little bit deeper. For the next portion, for the expanded portion, I like to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these is multifaceted. I also like to remind all of you that I'm not a replacement for a financial advisor, for a therapist, for a doctor, or for any type of expert in your life. What I'm here to do for you today, hopefully, is to show you opportunities, to empower free will, and to help you get a roadmap. You are the cartographer. I am here just to sort of show you the landscape, okay? So with that in mind, you got a dual totem here with respect to health. So let's look at each of these cards close up. They're both reversed. This is the main presenting energy. So this is Stag Spirit, take the lead. I feel like I've been saying the same thing, but it's coming through loud and clear. We actually see, it looks more like a bullhorn or a ram in the background. But anyway, the same sort of energy, leadership. Okay, this lead, this is representing you and what's healthy for you, is saying, in order for me to feel good about my life, my job, myself, I need to feel more attached to it. I need to feel like I'm in the driver's seat. So whatever you need to do to have more of a say, more of an impact, more accountability, it's going to make you feel better. So the buck stops with you. It's right literally here. All right, so let's take a look now at the next card here. So we have another reversal, but let's look at it upright. The whale spirit came through and it's saying, you're not going to be shown everything at once. Trust the great mystery. So one of the best parts of this life is happy surprises. And that's my preferred interpretation of the Four of Cups, is a blessing in disguise. Wouldn't this lifetime be boring if we had a cheat guide to how to do everything and we knew the last page of the book? The cool thing is we're constantly writing, rewriting, and completely reimagining what that last page is going to look like. We don't know it until the very last moment. Even as an intuitive, you're not going to get everything that is laid out in front of you. There are still choices and surprises up until the very last act of your show. Okay? So there's some exciting twists and turns, but take control and take the lead where you can, and then let other people surprise you with a cameo, with a guest appearance, with a surprise twist. Okay, this is part of what's fun for anyone that likes a good mystery, that you don't want it to be too obvious. You want it to be twist, a turn, and then is it this person, is it not this person? That's what makes something fun. And again, until the very last scene is what I'm getting here. So life has a lot of surprises up its sleeve for you. Don't worry, just be present, just engage, and literally let your heart be open. Well, not literally, but figuratively let your heart be open and be happy. Okay? Let's look at the cards now with respect to health here and see some additional messages that are coming through. Okay, so when we're looking at health, these two are jumping off the page to me. And so the Three of Swords connected to the Wheel of Fortune, connected to the Four of Cups. This really is saying no amount of money can make an unhappy situation worth it. No amount of money or title or I guess for some of you even attention can make this worth it. So if there's someone or something in your life that's trying to just throw money at a problem, that at the end of the day may not be enough. You have to really feel, or they have to feel really ready and connected. Otherwise, it's time to move in a different trajectory. So if there's a toxic person or a toxic environment, that's the first and central focus that you need to clear on for this month to be the best that it can possibly be. Stress reduction and time management. This is time management and this is stress reduction. And this is your environment. So all three of these things, they're super powerful, are coming through. So when it comes to stress reduction, just saying, the answer is with the card underneath it. Say no, push back, choose what you want to do, and know that you can't please everyone. And once you do that, you're going to do a lot better job at pleasing the people that you can please, and yourself included. Do less, but do it better. Let go of some stuff that you've been holding on to. Know that you're in a foundational moment. We have a nice story here. Recent, past, present, and future. They're going in the right direction, folks. Four of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune. We went from the minors to the major, and we went from less to more. So that's the direction that I want to see. You're in the right direction. Who's the conduit that can help you? Someone else, potentially. We have people looking at you, but there's also people around you. So your success this month comes in people, and you're coming out in a really strong way with that, okay? So I think that the way to get through this is by leaning on these people around you. You may need someone else to help you see what's right in front of you. Therapy, counseling, advice, mentorship can help with this, and this can be that person helping you see what you want to see, what you kind of know, but you kind of need someone else to lead you there, all right? So overall, I feel pretty good about health. It's mostly either environmental or stress management or time management that is presenting the biggest piece here, okay? Oh yeah, sorry about that. Thank you. Yeah, when I was lifting up the cards, I swapped them, so thank you for that. But it's the same sort of message here. The key here is in the page, and people are seeing you and wanting to come to you, but you need to kind of like meet them face on, and that's the story we were trying to tell with that. All right, so moving on from the health card to the wealth card, we have the elephant here. And this is the elephant in the room. So now we're looking at, for some of you, the elephant is the Three of Swords. It's what people don't want to deal with. So this could be someone that's not taking accountability. This could be a problem that leadership is ignoring. This could be something that you're afraid to deal with. But the truth of the matter is, the moment you start to talk about it, the moment that you start to pay attention to it, that's when everything starts to get better. And no one's going to be surprised. In fact, there could be a collective sigh of relief when people start to pay attention to the elephant in the room. So if we look at it from that respect, or from that perspective, what I'm really seeing with the elephant is dealing with a problem that, if ignored, could get bigger. And basically, you could present yourself in a leadership position by saying, I think we all have a common interest here. I have some ideas on how we could do that. And then we see the engaging energy here. You can get people on board so that you're not a sole, isolated island trying to deal with all of this as well. Okay? I already switched it, folks. We put it back. Thanks for your heads up. So with the elephant, the other message here is that be bold, be also intelligent about what you're doing, because elephants are super intelligent, sometimes not appreciated in that intelligence. And I think the important thing there is to also kind of like, if people are trying to just push their way into a situation, really try to ground it again in kindness, in leadership, and give them a different perspective. Because people could simply be focusing on trying to just sort of like show who's the boss, who's in charge, right? So in this case, you're showing that you know exactly what their perspective is. And so let's talk about like persuasive conversations. So with persuasive conversations, what you want to be focusing on is a couple of things. First of all, saying, I understand where you're coming from. State the conflict. And you could say, so by the way, if you just joined, we're talking about the expanded forecast, and we're taking a look at wealth. So with wealth, there could be something where you have to get your point across, and you want to say, I hear what you're saying. I used to believe in this as well. I've done some research here, and I have an idea that can address the way you feel, but also this new approach. So you can basically walk someone through it so that you're not just throwing an idea at them. And then you're not like, kind of like just traipsing all over everything, because an elephant is many things, but it's not graceful. It's strong and it's intelligent, but it also kind of traipses around. So make sure that you're not just barging in on something, that you're letting people know that you've done your homework on that. Okay? Let's see if there's anything else here. With respect to wealth, just that things could come from an unexpected trajectory or an unexpected direction. So definitely open yourself up to that. Okay? All right. So we just took a look at health and wealth. Now we're going to take a look at love. And we have a really interesting card here coming through for love. We're focusing on almost two different flowers. We're looking at it over the third eye and also over the crown chakra here. So for many of us, there's an opportunity right now to open up to a different way of thinking, to listen to someone else, to put ourselves in their shoes, and also to make sure, to me, it almost looks like a rose that's coming right over top of the mouth right there. So it's also about trying to speak with kindness and compassion, even if so it's constructive criticism, intuiting what's going on and speaking with constructive criticism. Okay? So let's take a look at relationships in the vein that I normally like to look at. Those in love, looking for love, or single and happy. If you're in an existing relationship, I also break it down into two levels. Let's just look at it as if everything is okay, that you want to work together, and let's just see what the challenges are for a healthy relationship. For the healthiest of relationships, something around you is causing stress. This could be you and or your partner's work. This could be you and or your partner's family. It could also be health constraints with you or your partner. So it's something around you. It's not the two of you together. It's something in the environment that's causing both of you to be stressed out. Do you still love each other? Very much so, because we have both the Page and the Three of Cups coming through. Both of you are distracted though, and the main thing that you could do is to, if you need help, there's only so much you can do for each other. Bring in the extra help so that you're feeling supported. You could also try to let go of trying to make all of the people in the environment happy. So I think that both of you are pulled a little bit you're stretched too thin when it comes to time, energy, and just where your heart's at. Pulling these two together, I don't want to inadvertently swap them again, but yeah, basically just spending a little bit of time. This is mostly about a date night, re-engaging that sort of spark, having some fun, that's going to be important. This can also be a third party though. So for some of you, there's a third party. It doesn't have to be another love interest. It could be friends, family, or work trying to get in between the two of you. The good news is in the near future, we have a kind card, the Page of Cups. In the crowning position, we have a leadership card, the Emperor. And in the outcome, we have a solution. It may not be ideal, but it is a good solution. So I do see you being able to solve things, okay? But there are challenges with stress, environment, family, maybe a third party. Communication could be a little bit too direct. So you could be saying too much and too honest with them. So find a way to make sure that you're checking in and that it's the right time to have a conversation. If the relationship is in a little bit of turmoil, so I just looked at a healthy relationship. If it's not such a healthy relationship, it's because of environment and third parties. Third parties can be mother or father-in-law, brother or sister-in-law. It doesn't have to be a lover. And in many cases, we're getting paternal energy. And we talked about earlier all of the competition when it came to men in the family sometimes. So there could be a male force that's coming in that just isn't listening. It could also be a matriarch that kind of acts like the emperor that is coming in and trying to rule the roost. And, when it comes to a family unit, and when you start to create your own family unit, that's your own sort of individual pride, if you will, like we were talking about the different lion prides or, sort of collections. So you have to sort of say, this is my family, and you have to respect it as well. You're standing up for yourself. If that doesn't happen, then probably what's going to, we have the Wheel of Fortune, so things are going to move in a different direction then, okay? So that's the key thing here. I see a third party or third point of view coming in, and the two of you have to decide where you stand, if it's strong enough to last that test. I think it can be, but it really hinges on the leadership, your leadership and their leadership. Okay, for those of you looking for love, yes, it's a good time for love. The main thing to do is to put yourself out there. The Three of Cups, like we said, could be a water sign coming into your life. I'm looking at someone who is defying age. So if they're older, they have a youthful sort of energy with them. If they're young, they have a lot of wisdom. So they don't look or act their age, or they may not be either. It's just sort of like this old soul in an unusual package. I think that your main challenge right now is some of you are on a rebound. Some of you have a lot of stress with work or family, and you have to sort that out. Many of you are in too many directions at once, and you have to let go of something. Because when this person comes in, you're going to be on a sort of a balancing act again. And the scales are out of balance right now. So something has to give. So that's what I'm seeing for those of you looking for love right now. Balance out your life first. And then we see a really nice partnership actually coming through. And it's going to start like we would expect, a little bit slower. You may want to go straight into commitment, but I think it makes sense to go slow. Three of Cups is just having fun with the dating and the courtship process. Okay? For those of you that are single and happy, the main focus right now is on personal healing and financial healing. The personal healing can lead into that financial healing as well. It could, and so I would say those are the two main focal points for most of you that are single and happy. The Wheel of Fortune can also be, I'm connecting it to the world a little bit here, particularly since we have this sort of serpentine energy here. So some of you may want to explore what's out there. And also by finding a better investment of time and energy, you start to find people and partnerships that also make you healthier, happier, and bring in more abundance here. But personal healing and financial healing are the central focal points for those that aren't interested in love at the moment. Okay? And that is everything. Let's focus now on the Destiny card. So we have the Rider, and this Rider card could be basically any sort of knight you would want it to be. Even the Chariot, if you want it to imagine it as the Chariot. The card is reversed. We see a unicorn as well on this particular card. So it's basically saying, are you driving or are you the passenger? Are you in the driver's seat or the passenger seat? And are you willing to go back and fix or repair something from the past? Because I always see a knight reversed as a very opportunistic, very good kind of card. It's saying, if I take a half step, if I just deal with this, address this, sort this out, I'm going to be so happy that I did. So there could be something that could cost a day, a week, a little bit of time, but it's going to be worth the extra effort, and this minor course correction could save you a lot of time and energy down the line here. But ultimately, with the card reverse, it's saying, do you want to drive, or do you want to have someone drive you to the destination? And that underlines the crowning card and the crown that I saw earlier, which is, you have leadership potential. Are you ready to own that leadership potential? Okay, let's take a look at a big idea card. All right, for this, I'm going to change it up a little bit, and let's see. I'm going to use some different decks for some of the other ones. So kind of like I do on the weekend. So we'll use the Tarot de St. Croix for the big idea. I may use the Afro Goddess for some of the other ones, but I'll use this for the first couple, and then I'll use Afro Goddess just so we get a good mix of all of them, because I really liked all of these for today. All right, so for the big idea, let's see what's coming through on this. Ooh, we have a beautiful Hanged Man. Okay, so exactly what I was just talking about with this Rider card is coming through on the Hanged Man. So the Rider is saying, it's okay, it may even be advantageous to take a left or right turn, or to double back a step or two, because there's something that we might have missed. Through a pause, an intentional pause or an environmental pause, comes enlightenment. And we see the cosmos sort of revealing itself here in this card. This was the deck that I wanted to use today. It's a good deck. People don't know what it is, so I'm going to introduce you to some of the other decks as we're working through this. So this Hanged Man is saying, give yourself a moment or two before rushing into the next sort of step of your life. Also, what we see centrally focused in this one is the heart. We see the moon crowning the head. There's always a nimbus or a halo around the head. So the moon crowning the head is basically saying, in this moment, don't be afraid to go into things that might make you afraid, things that could trigger you, things that are in the realm of the unknown, because the moon represents that sort of hidden potential. It's a reflective card, and it's a reflective energy. It's also saying reflection is what this period of time is all about. And then focus on the heart. And the heart is something that's going to be the PowerPoint for this particular moment in time. Okay? So you are exactly where you need to be. Things are unfolding exactly in the timeline that they need to. Any delays were intentional and will open a door for you. Don't freak out. Using the same deck for the next two, and then I'll swap it for the next portion here. For blessings and blocks, we're going to be focusing on things that are going to bring you into the best possible trajectory, and something that might cause a little bit of a delay. Your blessing is the King of Cups. So interesting, radically different decks. Very similar strategic energy coming through on these, but we'll talk about that in a second. I told you I wanted to pull the King of Cups, and we got a little bit of that with this, and now I got the King of Cups here, so it makes sense. The block is the Three of Swords. One of the cool things when I use multiple decks, if we get the same card, and it's in the environment here, if we get the same card, we start to understand it's not just a fluke. This is something we need to pay attention to. All right, focusing on your blessing in this moment. Your heart can lead you in the right direction. We see a boat in the background, ostensibly the Six of Swords, and it's under a sunbreak. For a very, very short amount of time, for like 3 or 4 months, I spent a little bit of time in Seattle, and just long enough to know that I wasn't a rainy. I'm a sunshine person. I need a little bit more sunshine. For those 3 or 4 months, I think it rained 80% of the time. I was there during fall and winter. And nowhere in my previous places that I lived was the weather forecast measured with sun breaks. They actually talk about in the Pacific Northwest, they'll say, it'll be rainy all day today, and at 3 in the afternoon, you can go out and expect a sun break. And I was like, what? What's a sun break? It'd be like 10 or 15 minutes where the rain stops. And I remember I was near Puget Sound, and there would be like these, exactly like we see here, these bands of light that would come out over the sound, and you would see people come out of the woodwork and kind of like take off their coats and everything and try and get some sun and enjoy it. So we see a breaking point Like suddenly there's a break in the emotional difficulty that you've been experiencing. I haven't thought of a sun break in a long time. And the Six of Swords means that you're finally getting through it, finally finding that happy space. Little Apollo, that reminds me of. And spending time on the things that matter to you. So this can represent friendship, love, family. This represents movement away from pain, discomfort, and moving back into the light, a sun break. So yeah, those of you up in Canada, I'm sure there's something similar in Scandinavian countries because there's a lot of rain and snow. But like there's these peak moments where out of all the rain and fog and everything, the sun breaks through and it looks like this cinematic event. And it is breathtaking. I'm happy that I got to experience that. I don't miss the constant rain though. Yes, I was very close to British Columbia when I was in Seattle, but do not miss that. Only there for a brief period of time, spent a little time with family, and thought, I do not want to be here any longer. I need to get back to California. But I have respect for the people there. It was a very inspirational period. Like I felt a strong connection to nature. I love the trees, the forest, the green, how much weather there was. Like you couldn't ignore the connection to nature in the Pacific Northwest, and I would agree in Canada as well. It's so lush and beautiful. I think if you're born there, you have a different, appetite and patience with that versus I miss the sun. So anyway, I see a break coming through for you. And I think the more you connect to what makes you happy, the more that break can sort of be a permanent phase. Healing. Healing is the only block here. You can't rush it. The heart takes time to heal. And the Three of Swords for many of us is saying if we ignore the pain, it doesn't go away. If you try to discount the pain, you're not learning the lesson from the pain. So embrace, understand, and allow the pain to take its course and do what you can to honor, heal, and release the pain in its own time. Okay? Okay. So I'm just calculating how many cards here. We have about 4 more. We have 3 here. I'm going to use this for viewers and readers' choice, and then I will use Sun, Rising, Moon. I'll use the Afro Goddess and the final card. That gives us just enough for all of them to kind of have an appearance here. Okay, so we're going to look at everything here in just a moment and do the viewers and readers' choices. For the view, I always like to take the hardest or the most interesting. Sometimes it's the best for the reader's choice. So the one that I'm going to look at, I feel like what I just hit upon is important because we got 2 Three of Swords. It was the most difficult card that came through, so I'll take it. Let me grab the keyboard and let's take a look at what else you can be focusing on and vote on while I'm doing that. All right, so let's see what's underway here. The Three of Cups was interesting, the one that I'd inadvertently flipped for a second here. So how to embrace social interactions, because it seemed like that could be a challenge for some of you. Letting go of old habits or cycles here. So I'm just going to put letting go of the past. Stepping into leadership, since that was a big part of the channeled messages. Not just that. Okay, we're going to be specific on the leadership. Well, I'll put it as a separate one. Leadership can be many things, but the final one is saying what needs to be said. All right, you have a lot of choices. Have fun voting on those. While you do that, I'm going to take a deeper dive into the Three of Swords. For the person earlier that was asking, like, show the table more, I do in the latter portion. So be patient is what I would say. As we move towards the end, it's almost exclusively the table. So we start off talking to each other, then we look at the table if you're new to my channel. All right. Focusing on the Three of Swords. What needs to be healed? What do we need to know about the healing? Is there a timeline? Etc., etc. The Page of Wands in reverse, and it's more of the same. It's kind of interesting on this one. Okay, so we see someone here. It's also kind of like connecting to the energy of the emotions here. There was a Kate Bush song called Cloud Busting, and it's basically about starting a rainstorm with this magical machine. So with this, the emotions that are coming through are not meant to take away power. It's meant to help you find yourself again. So sometimes we need that sort of moment where we have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. And I wanted to talk about this on the 10 of Swords, but I have such a limited amount of time on my 1-minute readings. I have to keep like crunching it into 60 seconds. So what I didn't get a chance to say with the 10 of Swords, but I can with the 3 of Swords and this Page of Wands is, we talked about it on the weekend, so this is an elaboration of that. The breaking point, or the break, is where the power comes. So here we see lightning. Lightning is that electric charge, and it comes through and it breaks through things. We see that on the Tower card. So we call it breaking new ground, groundbreaking, breakthrough, break it down, take a break. All these sort of things where we're kind of taking an old thing that doesn't serve us anymore and basically rearranging it. So don't be afraid of breaking it down, not a breakdown, but breaking down the emotions, because that's why you cry, you laugh. In spirit this morning, I met an old coworker and I checked in with him this morning, but we were laughing, and that is one way that you can take stress and release it. We worked at in an office that was not well managed a long, long time ago, but we were laughing about the stress. So that was one way that you can do it. You can laugh, you can joke, you can cry, you can scream, you can just talk, but it needs to come out. So it needs to break through this barrier, and when it does, then you're going to have a lot more ideas and energy that are able to break into your energy as well, because you have clouds, energetic, emotional clouds, and we need to break those down and open it up so that we can have the sun break that we saw here. Okay? And that's only going to happen through talking, laughing, and crying. So however you want to get something out, it's important to talk it out, cry it out, act it out if you want to do something creative with art, theater, I don't care, but dance. Find a way to somehow exercise the energy so it gets out of your body. All right, let's see what you guys chose for me. Saying what needs to be said by 34%. Okay, so let's take a quick look here and see what the message is around having a difficult conversation. Aha. Okay, so the Hermit energy came through on this. And this is interesting. So with the Hermit, as you have a difficult conversation, you have a lot to say, but the other party wants to be heard. They want to be heard, or they may not want to come out and listen. It's it's like an extreme. So the most difficult thing for some of you could simply be getting time on the calendar. So like a busy CEO, someone of that sort, they tend to be a recluse. They have their secretary or assistant take care of their schedule. You can't get to them, so they're hermiting, they're hiding. There could be someone that wants to talk to you and wants to shut you down and just wants to spout things out. So it's about balancing out privacy in the case of the Hermit that wants their privacy. And then in a conversation where you can actually get together, it's also about making sure that both parties are heard. Now, the Hermit doesn't have to say a lot, but when they speak, they can shut something down or really kind of like the other person will have an epiphany moment because of the wisdom. So it's not the airtime, it's not the amount that you say, it's what you say, how you say it, and when you say it. So you could deliver a very small amount of information that is going to be potent, timely, and delivered with a charge and a sort of confidence that is going to make it more important than someone that sat there and chatted away. So less is more is the message here. Timing is everything, and be persistent. The person can't hide forever. So if it's someone like a boss, for instance, you'll eventually get on the calendar. Don't annoy, but do be persistent with the gatekeeper. See if you can run into them, between meetings or something and say, hey, I have something, you might have to be opportunistic that way. And then when you do get a moment with somebody that is in that hermit energy, or you're kind of showing your wisdom, because the hermit is like a wizard or sorceress. But basically, when you have your moment, all you have to do is say a few words. So we could look at Lord of the Rings as an example. Gandalf doesn't have the most speaking moments, but usually has the most to say because he's the advisor. So he's not going to pontificate. He's going to say exactly what needs to be said when it needs to be said, and he's going to shut something down if it's nonsense. And his lines are the most memorable usually. You shall not pass. Something like that. Or flee, you fools, or whatever. So when he speaks, you listen. And that's all you have to think is, I have something to say. In this moment, it's important. And I only need 1 minute of your time. That's kind of what I try to do every day. Here's a minute. Here's what I have to say. Have a great day. You can say a lot in 60 seconds. I've learned that after doing the shorts. So keep it short, but keep it powerful. Plan it out. As a piece of advice, it takes me a few minutes to get it all together. Shorts takes me an hour to get a 1 minute short ready for you guys, by the way, because of editing, packaging, producing it, putting it all out there on all the platforms. So you have to plan to get that 1 minute in front of somebody. Okay? That's why I like this. I can just show up and talk for an hour or two and it's fun, but I do a lot more to get a lot less for those 1 minute things. So just know that you want to do the same if you're going to have a very short amount of time in front of somebody. All right, that answers the questions. Now we're going to move on to sun, rising, and moon messages. Let's go ahead and shift to a different deck for this. Okay. As I said earlier, this can be used for any aspect of your chart, this reading as a whole, but this particular portion will drill into the specific ones. Okay. Sun, rising, and moon. This is so cool today. I love synchronicities. We have at the heart of the spread the very same card. We have in the crowning position the same card. So I might start to do this more often because it shows, I'll take the losing decks and pull them in so that you get exposed to other types of decks here. But what's cool about it is we're seeing there's common energies. Which is, by the way, if you're new to tarot reading, it's a reason that you don't have to sit and pull the same, you can't ask the same question. What is delivered to you is what you need to see. You can go to 15 different decks and probably get similar reads. Look at the card and think, what am I supposed to learn from this? Even if it's the card you didn't want to get, that's especially when it's important. We're looking at sun, rising, and moon. We're starting with sun sign messages. We received the very same card that we got at the center, the Six of Pentacles. It's you, Libra, in a different card. I mean, justice is typically Libra, but we have the scales in this card. So it's you. It's saying, I can't be everything to everyone. I can't do everything for everyone. I can't do everything you want, but I can do this. I will do this. I choose to do this. Instead of saying I can't, here's how you could frame it. Say, there's a lot of opportunities in front of me. This is what I choose. This is what I believe in. This is where I'd like to focus. Would you like to help with this? So position yourself. She's in a very empowered position here. So she's saying, I'd like to take this on. Help me with this, please. Put yourself in that authoritative figure as you're delegating, as you're pushing back, as you're asking for more. Say, I think we need to address this. Can I count on you for help with this? Asking for money or for resources or for time. So it's about being powerful in the balancing act, which is exactly what Libra can do. This is very aligned with the sun. It literally is right at the center. This is the transactional energy. And now we have the overview, which is you hold the key, you hold the power. And even if you are one of the people that need the transactional sort of thing, imagine more like yourself here. Let the person know why you're a good bet, why this is worth their time and energy. And that's going to help you get what you need. That's all we have to say there for the sun. By the way, the last thing here is that you're just going to find your footing this month. I feel like you're going to achieve balance, find your footing, and be willing and ready to speak up for yourself, which can be difficult at times for Libra. As we look at rising or ascendant, This is where love enters in. We got both the Page and the Three of Cups. So it looks like there's a lot of good networking opportunities when it comes to rising and ascendant, a lot of new partnership opportunities and love opportunities as well. The one thing that is super important on this one, I just look at all the love. It's a really sweet card, isn't it? Like when you look at the couple there, they truly are there for each other. Both are present. So I feel that who wouldn't want that energy? So whether this is work, where a lot of times rising and ascendant energy can present itself, or just generally speaking in the groups that we hang out with, do you feel that you are welcomed, celebrated, supported, loved? And if you don't, what are you doing there? You can also do your best to just let people know how you feel. I talked a little bit about that on the weekend, leaving a message for a friend where I thought, I don't say thank you enough or that you make an impact enough. So I just wanted to leave a message like that. I checked in this morning with someone just out of the blue saying, I was thinking about you. How you doing? No agenda. I didn't need anything. I just wanted to check in. We need more of those no agenda check-ins with the people that we love the most. The more you do that, the more you're likely to receive it in the future as well. But do it because you feel it. Okay? As you raise your frequency and just naturally emanate that kindness and that thoughtfulness, you'll attract people who have done the same work on themselves. Maybe it's not going to be in your existing network, but in the future, people that you bring in, they will have the same capacity, the heart IQ that you're building up in this moment in time. But it's a great time for love, for partnerships, and for networking. Moving on to the moon, we have the crowning card, the main focal point, what really brought through the lion energy today, and it's the Emperor. This Emperor was reversed. It's kind of interesting, all the Ankh symbols that are coming through here. You see it on right beside him, it's his staff. Here it's as a little tattoo. This particular Emperor was reversed. So I think that power struggles or power plays are going to start to come through in your relationships and in your environment. And for you, for all the Libra moons out there, this is where the healing happens. And this is where you might understand that your happiness, your sense of empowerment does not have to come at the sacrifice of you don't have to sacrifice yourself to make others happy, is a better way to state this. And you shouldn't have to. And you shouldn't have to put all of your time and energy in fixing other people either. So this is about the reclamation, the sort of reclaiming of your power for yourself. You're nobody's battery. You're nobody's Mr. or Mrs. Fix-It. You're nobody's nurse or doctor or mother or father. You may be that in a profession, but when it comes to a key relationship, you don't have to play that role, particularly when it comes to love. It's better if you are just, on an even kilter here. Now, he's holding the crystal ball. There's actually a few crystal balls in this one, but that I would normally associate with the Two of Wands or the High Priestess. Two of Wands can be either a crystal or the globe. High Priestess, it's often in that card. So this is saying, have I lost touch with my vision? Because that's really what both of those cards are, is the sort of focal point. And if you have, then this is coming back down to earth and coming back down to that point of why you're here, what you're trying to do again, okay? I believe we've hit on all the major points. We're going to get ready for the final card here in just a moment. The way that this works is we're going to set it up with a meditation. The meditation lasts a minute or two, and the sound bath lasts about a minute. So we have about 3 minutes of prep, and then I pull a card. And whatever your question is that I haven't yet answered, scribble it down, tap it into your phone, hold it in your head, and then we'll take a look at it in just a moment. If you've enjoyed any part of this and would like to watch it again and you've never subscribed, consider doing that. Helps the channel. The more I grow, the more I can do different types of videos and more videos. So thank you for your support. You can also follow me across social platforms, and thanks in advance to anybody who gave back. Okay, for the meditation today, let's take a quick look at the table and see what wants to come through. Like, we have a lot of healing cards. The Three of Swords came through a couple times. I love the idea of the sun breaking through the clouds. And that might be what we focus on, is how to call in the sun, how to call in that sun break energy. And for those of us that have been going through the rain, I think that could be a nice sort of visualization. Whether you're in a snowy environment, rainy environment, or it's already sunny out, we all can relate to the magic of the sun. So close your eyes for a moment, please. Tune into your mind, your body, and your energy. And anywhere that you're feeling heaviness, disturbance, or a blockage, as you breathe in, imagine that the sun is shining in this moment in time, and that you're going to pull in a golden ray of sunshine, and it's going to go into whatever part of your mind, body, or spirit that needs to be healed, and it's going to break through any of the darkness, any of the blockage, and it's just going to disappear like a puff of smoke as you exhale. So inhale the light, exhale any sort of darkness, any sort of doubt, any sort of fear. Really push it out on each exhale. Imagine that as you're breathing, you can start to see the clouds part in the sky above you. And each breath that you take is also pushing away the clouds, bringing in the light, allowing the sun to fill the sky above you. Continue to breathe, continue to see your own lightness and brightness start to shine, and focus on, just like a single ray of light, where you want to be in the next few days, weeks, or months. Focus that as a razor sharp ray of light, and also feel like you're cleaning and clearing a path to that. So one ray coming into your heart and another ray shining from your heart to what it is that you want to put your time, energy, and your resources into. Focus on that while I play the singing bowl, and then we'll look at the final card. All right, take a moment now to trust in your vision, trust in the fact that you've cleared a path to this goal, to this dream, and just allow now for each day to open up synchronicities, any sort of confirmation from spirit that you need to know that this new dream, this new vision is underway. Basically moving into Three of Wands energy, if you will. All right, focus on the final question that you have for me. Gently open your eyes on the next exhale, and we'll take a look. Okay. Let's see what's going on with your final question, what the cards have to relay. All right, beautiful card for the end of this reading. We have the Ace of Wands, which is an affirmative. As a yes-no question, if you asked one, this is saying, yes, you're on the right track, or yes, this looks good. It's a positive card. Just generally speaking about this card, I would say the important thing is to feel a fire, intensity, or a spark behind whatever it is that you choose to do in this moment. Does it excite you? Does it inspire you? Is it true to your vision? And this is a visionary card. When I look at wands, I think about what's going on up here, especially the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Swords would be a way to take action upon that idea, but this is the ideation, the spark, this is the thing that gets everything started. So you're on to something good. This is going to be a month where any seeds planted have the ability for abundance, fertility, growth, rapid growth at that with the Ace of Wands. But we have a connection here between these two cards. The Emperor can't simply sort of sit on the idea. He has to move forward with it. One of the things that I mentioned when I was looking at the different Emperor and King cards was they're all on chess sort of decks here. And so they're being very strategic about the next move. So really think out your next move, allowing for both emotions and ideas to have kind of like equal footing here, since we had both the King of Cups and the Emperor with two different sort of chessboards there. All right, so and this also an indication of time would be now or within the next day, week, or month. It's pretty fast. It's not a waiting card. The only one that has more immediacy is the Fool, because it's happening, it's 0, or like a Magician or High Priestess, but this is happening quickly. So get to work on something that you're excited about, and you're going to start to see momentum and push and good things happening. All right, this is a great reading for you. It was kind of fun changing it up and using the different decks because we saw some synchronicities with the types of cards and the specific cards that came through. Thank you so much for all of you that joined and subscribed. Also thank all of you that gave back here. I'd like to take a couple of quick notes just to acknowledge anyone that gave a contribution or joined as a member, and then we'll wrap up for today. For those of you that are unfamiliar with my schedule, I do live readings on every Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. I do 1 card reads every day, and then I sprinkle in some other readings as the cosmos so desires. I've been doing celestial readings for the moon phases, and then like if there's any sort of solstice or equinox as well. All right, looks like we just have a couple of members for today. Let's see, I might have said all of these on the weekend, but I'll kind of go through them very quickly here. So Collar Me Happy, Institutionalized 88, and I think that's it for today. Everyone else I saw yesterday, I remember saying the names, but because I think Alika had a hard time saying the name, Water Girl, Anita. Yeah, everyone else I said hello to and thank you yesterday, so I appreciate you. All right, quickly for the super stickers and super chats, I'd like to just simply say 2 things. First of all, if you're just here showing up, that's amazing, and there's no pressure to give back, so I just want to say thanks for the participation and being present. If you did give back, I'm going to say thank you, and I'm just going to say thanks to all the names. And by the way, I can't promise to pronounce all the names correctly, but I do heartfeltly appreciate what you've given back, so thank you. All right, so let's just go quickly through it. Jane, Robert, Jeannie, Pima, Mai, Sarah, Kathy, thank you so much. Sonette and Laura as well. Special thanks to Robert. I appreciate that, as well to Laura for giving just a little bit extra. I do appreciate it. All right, I think I caught everybody here. So thank you so much also to the members in the chat. If you ever want to become a member, I do give back in the way of allowing you to break ties on the weekend, and also when I do a Q&A, and we're kind of overdue for one of those, I allow you to ask some questions on the Q&A. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great month ahead. It looks like it's going to be a good one. And until I see you next, sending you lots of love and light. Hey, Apollo, you just woke up. You want to say hi to the group real quick, and then we'll go? He's like, I want a belly rub first, Dad. All right, from Mr. Apollo and I, we're wishing you all the best. Take care of yourselves. Try to stay dry if the rain is causing some discomfort. And until then, take care. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.